Hi everybody, I'm Michael Casper, and this is the Nation of Patriots introduction, actually a little history of where the Nation of Patriots began. We have Deb Struve, Brad Weber, Bud Stouch, Tim Fletcher, and the guy who started it all, Bill Scheer. Bill, why don't you start things off, tell us how it all started, the Nations of Patriots.
It started back in 2008. I was working for a company down in Chicago. Born and raised here in Wisconsin, but went down to the big city, had a little fun, and job was great, paycheck was great until it wasn't. And then I started to get the itch to do something else, something a little above and beyond the daily grind. And I had a bunch of friends that were actively serving, and I started to hear stories about their friends coming home pretty banged up, and sort of in between jobs or unable to find jobs and not being able to pay their bills and feed their kids. And it just struck a chord with me, and I figured, you know, I got the time, money, and motivation, you know, I got to do something, anything.
So what did you do, though? I mean, you had these friends, these compatriots. What exactly did you do to launch the Nation of Patriots?
I called a lawyer and asked about starting a nonprofit organization.
Good start. Start with a lawyer.
And the lawyer was nice enough to give me some direction. And from there I called another person whose brother was an attorney, and we started the real Nation of Patriots 501c3 Foundation.
Okay.
And it was born in 2009.
And this started, what year did this start?
We became a 501c3 recognized organization in 2009.
2009, okay. And that first year, tell me about the first year. How many people were involved? Was it all 48 contiguous states? And tell me about what it was exactly that you envisioned it to be and what it's become.
Absolutely. So we got to back up just a little bit. So in putting this whole thing together, we needed to figure out what we wanted to do. So anybody can start a nonprofit organization. You can have a bake sale, you can raise money for anything, but to really raise money and really make a significant impact, we had to figure out how we were going to do that. So while building the Nation of Patriots, we also built the Patriot Tour. And that was where we came up with the idea that at first, somebody was going to ride around the country on a motorcycle.
One person.
One person.
Was the idea.
Yep. And gather a huge head of steam and a whole bunch of followers, and you know, this huge thing was going to go around the country. And we planned out, you know, the whole entire route, all 48 contiguous states, and we started raising a little money for the trip. I put in my own monies, and the 4 members that we were working with put in a little bit of their time and money as well. And we became a 501c3 nonprofit, and in Memorial Day of 2009, we hit the road.
So one person did do it?
One person tried, and that was me. So
okay.
I got onto my motorcycle and left from a Harley-Davidson dealership in Milwaukee, and went straight down to Illinois, and then over to Indiana, and on and on and on. I ended up hitting all the states east of the Mississippi.
Okay.
And then I crossed over the Mississippi into Kansas and ran out of money. So yeah, it wasn't working the way that we had planned.
Okay.
And I guess we didn't plan on staying in hotels, or I didn't plan on staying in hotels every single night. Kind of ran into a lot of bad weather. So
okay.
The budget got knocked out pretty quick, and had to turn back home and
retool.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes.
Regroup. So I'm gonna bring the rest of the gang in here as we get farther into the history of it. What did you do then the next year, though? You're still on your own, basically. I mean, it was basically you were thinking it was just gonna be the one-person tour?
It was until I sort of started reflecting back on the original myself out there, and I realized that it wasn't me that people were going to get behind. You know, as valiant as that effort was, it just wasn't enough. Nobody really knew who I was, and so looking at what might start to rally folks, it became a symbol, and that symbol was the American flag. All Americans can rally around that, and everything that it stands for, everything that it means. I mean, it has a worldwide recognition and draw, and obviously, you know, we wanted the Patriot Tour to unite Americans from coast to coast, and we needed a symbol to do that. I just Mexican American flag. So we stuck that on the back of a bike in 2010.
Okay.
Called up Wisconsin-Harley-Davidson, which is where most of these folks started entering the picture, and right off the bat they said, how can we help? And bam.
Okay.
Here we are.
Was it Bud? So who'd you talk to? Who'd you contact first? Was it Brad Weber? Who?
Actually, Wade Fletcher was the first person that I talked to, and he immediately talked to, I believe, Brad, and then Deb got into it, and then Bud and Tim and everybody.
So when he gives you a call, you get this this knucklehead on the phone, and he's like, "What? You're doing what now? You're out of your mind. You're going to all 50 states on a motorcycle." Did you guys then kind of start retooling and saying, okay, not one person, let's make this more of a relay, or when did that idea, what happened in the phone conversation when you guys first talked about it?
Well, he called Wade. I had a brief conversation with him and turned it over to Deb, who was running our events and marketing and everything at that time, and she kind of got the background from Bill, and then at a following staff meeting we had kind of presented it and said, you know, what do you guys think? I'd like to hold a meeting with you guys and see if we can help. And you know, right away we heard the cause. We didn't really have to hear all of the metrics and everything that go along with that. It was the cause, and the cause is what hit our heart. And you know, the timing was right. We had just purchased a Harley-Davidson dealership, and obviously you get a lot of requests to support certain causes, but there was, you know, in our hearts there was no one greater than you know, our veterans.
Yeah.
And so we said, yeah, let's get them in here, and it happened. In fact, I remember I think it was really snowing outside, and you know, here we are talking about going cross country and coordinating you know, 100 days worth of travel.
And what year when was this? Now let's hit the timeline here. So
This was 2010.
This was 2010. So this was prior to 2010. So this is the winter of.
Winter would have been 2009, December, January,
right.
Somewhere around there.
Okay,
Yeah.
okay. And then now, did you guys have the idea then, or did you come up with a plan to say, okay, let's try to hit all 48 contiguous, but not one person's venture, or when
So
did that?
the plan and the route were all there. All it needed was ignition and the idea to really rally a home base, and that ignition came from these guys. I mean, right away, and that's exactly what we needed to get this thing off the ground.
Okay.
They brought to the table ideas and passion, and helped mold it into what it is today.
Okay, Deb, did you guys have meetings? Did you get together and say, okay,
We started.
you're in charge of this, you got to help me here, and is that kind of how it went?
Right. We started piecing it together that way.
Okay.
And setting up, I don't know if it was monthly meetings or whatnot, before Memorial Day.
Right.
So we only had a matter of like 5 months to get this thing together
Right.
the right way.
Right. And how did you get to getting it to what you knew was going to be the right way? And to begin to get the word out, who did you reach out to, or what did you do? It couldn't have been just meetings at the Harley dealerships.
Nope.
Yeah, that's a good idea. No.
We had contacts at our 100 chosen locations, and from the Nation of Patriots organization, the core members or board of directors, and myself, we reached out to all these 100 folks and told them, this is what we're now doing, this is where it's starting, and this is what we're looking for from you. So we had a lot more direction instead of, hey, I'm coming by, you know,
right.
with myself on a bike, and I need a whole bunch of people to ride with me, and that way they latched onto it. It was not hard to say, hey, this is what we're doing, and immediately we had a following. And back in the winter of 2009, 2010, we were trying to figure out, well, we really got to come out of the gates running here. So, you know, that's where all the meetings were taking place, and what we were trying to do to really build this thing from ground up. And sure enough.
And did you like set yourself up? I was in charge of this. Brad was this, and then Bud. What did Bud do other than window dressing here, really looking good on camera? what exactly was or is? What's your role, Bud?
Well, first of all, I kind of started off. Bill's enthusiasm is very contagious. All of us here have friends and family that have served in every branch of service. We can all recognize the need, and we all have the passion for the cause, and that was a huge thing. I became involved working with Brad, Deb, Tim, Wade, and handling some of the logistic stuff at the dealership level. And then later on in the timeline, we decided to change the location this year for the startup, and I became more key in that portion of it.
Okay. Then, okay, let's go to that first year, that spring of 2010. You launched from where? Oconomowoc? Where did you leave from? Milwaukee?
Out of Oconomowoc.
Oconomowoc.
Yep.
And you had everything plotted. You had the course plotted. You knew at that time, yeah?
Yep.
Where all the places you were going to be stopping?
We knew exactly where we were going, where that flag was going to be, what day it was going to be there, and we had people waiting for it, getting ready for flag transferring ceremonies. So every time the flag gets to a new destination, the guy carrying it, we call them the flag bearers. There's another flag bearer waiting for him or her, and they give the flag over in a ceremonious fashion.
Okay, and how did it go that first year? What do you have number-wise? And did any of you guys go on, or did you go?
We all went down to Illinois.
Okay.
Yeah.
And what were the numbers like? Or was it always different?
It's been around 300 on the first day.
The first trip down there, I think we were up there, somewhere in between 200 and 300.
Yeah.
Between 200 and 300.
It was in high twos.
Okay.
So, and that to me was double what I thought we were going to find.
Right.
Just based on my, the first 2009 experience, where there might have been 10 to 20 people that were waiting at a dealership somewhere in Bumble F somewhere, right? So that was incredible for me, and it brought me to this point and wanting to go even further. So.
Okay. All right. Let's continue on from 2010. It was deemed a success. Yes.
Deemed a smashing
huge success. Wonderful. And you ended up coming back to point A where you began.
Yep. All the way around the country.
All the way around. And are there stories? Were there little things that people would call in? Well, we're in Louisiana now, and you wouldn't believe what happened. Was it that first year? Was there logistic things that went haywire for you, or
logistically nothing?
Okay.
Unbelievable. I mean, if you think of all of the stuff that goes into something like that, I mean, this is a nationwide game of telephone.
You would think it was rife with disaster.
You think it'd be dead in its tracks in the Midwest,
but it wasn't.
No. All the way around.
Lots of anxiety and nervousness. We all would talk almost every day, and we were just waiting for
something to go wrong,
catastrophe to happen.
Yeah.
Murphy's Law.
Sure.
And boy, I can't tell you the relief that came off of everybody's shoulders when it made it home.
Right.
Story-wise, there's too many to count.
Yeah.
Our inbox is lit up with stories, and I think one that sticks out to me, I'm sure you guys might have heard me tell others, but I believe it was somewhere in New Mexico. The riders pulled off to gas up, and a lady came up and she said, what is this? What are you guys doing? And they told her the story, and she started crying, and her husband was in the Marine Corps, and she just started thanking everybody, and it was extremely emotional. I wish I could have been there to see it, but I got the story via email, and it still brings goosebumps.
Yeah, that's great.
So, and there was story after story after story.
Was somebody chronicling those by chance? That's another project. Maybe
yes,
Wade or Tim in charge of that.
Another project.
Tim can write, can he? Yeah. Okay. So Tim,
The official historian.
we haven't really talked to you, Tim. What exactly? What's been your role over the years here?
Well, it's like Bud said. Bill's personality and his enthusiasm is very contagious, and I picked up on that right away. And I've made every start and every ending. And on a couple of the endings, I went out further and came back with the group each day. And this year, I'm planning on meeting several friends throughout the route in various places and doing some long segments of it, particularly in the South and West. And I've worked with some of the people in the dealerships to the west of here, mainly in the areas where the turnout was small, and tried to build enthusiasm, try to get some people that have contacts there to make a little bigger impression and spread the word and try to get a little better turnout. So I'm looking forward to making that trip with the flag and carrying it, or carrying the tradition, carrying the Bill's brilliance. along the route.
Indeed.
It's not my brilliance. It's a.
You're too modest.
It really is a united effort. Yeah,
Let's talk about the Nation of Patriots and what the real cause is, the impetus behind it all.
we raise money, simply stated, we raise money for the families of wounded veterans. I think what sets us apart somewhat is not only our event, the Patriot Tour, but the fact that every single dollar that we raise within the course of the Patriot Tour and elsewhere, every single donation goes to our cause. So 100%.
Excellent.
Everybody on the board of directors, volunteers, members, anybody in association with this effort has their own day jobs, does their own thing. This is a extremely awesome extracurricular activity.
How do you raise money? What is the drive behind raising money? If you're on a ride and you're going from here, let's say you're in Wisconsin, the first stop is going to be Illinois. Are you do you get sponsors like a like a bowl-a-thon? It's like for every mile I'll give you 3 cents type thing, or how do you raise the money?
We have ceremonies at flag transferring ceremonies at each location. And we try to get the people that we're working with to bring out as many folks from the local area as they can. And we ask for voluntary donations.
Okay.
And that's simply how we raise money.
So the first year, 2009, let's go back to that. Did you raise?
We did.
What?
$2,100.
Nice.
And we split that evenly amongst 3 families.
Excellent.
Yep. And then the jump in success when we really nailed it was, I believe, off the top of my head, around $7,000, $8,000, and we split that up evenly. And we worked directly with VA hospitals and other legal entities to find the families that they consider to be in the most need or need support, whether it's between benefits from the VA hospital or the government or whatever the case might be. They select the families, they tell us who they're looking at, they tell us, you know, the bare minimum information. We have our own criteria. They had to have served in active duty service, they had to have been wounded, and they must have one legal dependent. So if they can match that criteria, bring us, you know, the cases that they feel need the most support, we physically write out a cashier's check and hand it directly to the family.
Excellent. So we got to the end of 2010. And do you immediately start planning this planning crew for the next year and the organization? And I'm sure everything from admin just keeps getting better every year. Your organizational skills and everything is in place. Now you got the framework in place. It had to have gotten easier as 2011 approached.
Right. So that we just start in January, right after the donation benefit area when they receive it.
Yeah.
And then starting in January, we're planning for May already.
Yeah. Did the route change from year to year, or did you get different cities, or now do you have other people approaching you and say, hey, we want part of this?
Yes, we have a list of folks that
network.
Asking to get onto the tour. The problem is we try to fit in between Memorial Day and Labor Day. So there's only so many places we can hit. It's changed a little bit. There's been dealerships and locations that have closed or moved operations, so we've been forced to look around. And when that happens, we find American Legions, we find VFWs, other Harley Davidson dealerships. You know, there's a whole list of folks that are happy to help.
Yeah, terrific. So let's go to 2011. 2010 in the books. 2011. What was different? What was good, bad? On to the next year.
We set our goals higher.
Set your goals higher, and
trying to figure out how we're going to match it or make it higher.
Yeah.
While always keeping in mind that, you know, you don't want to make this thing into a circus.
Right.
You want to keep the cause
focus.
Focus on what we're actually doing here, and, you know,
okay.
keep to it.
So what was 2011? Same route. Let's go back to that. I mean, did you leave from where? Oconomowoc again?
Yes.
Okay.
Yep.
And back to Illinois. I was like, hey, good to see you guys again. It's been a year type thing. And
Same route.
Was it bigger?
Bigger crowd.
Yeah.
Bigger crowd. Yep. A lot of people had been hearing about it or had heard about it, and they were coming out just out of curiosity.
Yeah.
So we definitely enjoyed that.
So number-wise, and how much money made that next year, 2011?
We're upwards of 15,000, so we just about doubled. Yep. So every year we've been pretty much doubling the support that we've raised.
Oh, okay. So so let's go to 2012 then. Did you double it? Did you go?
We were upwards of, I believe, $33,000.
Really?
Yep.
Okay. And then last year
we knocked it out of the park with about 80 grand.
80 grand. Excellent. How many families did you touch?
35 families. Yes, in 20 some odd states. Yep.
Fantastic. Gotta make you feel good.
Oh, absolutely.
But that isn't why you do it. But it's gotta make you feel good.
Yeah.
I mean, you do it for the right reasons, all you guys. But it's gotta be just emotional.
It's incredible. You find, especially in a different state, when we're physically not working with the veterans, or when we get to see them at our donation events. I'm working with somebody I've never even met, and they've working through us. We found the family, and we send that check to them, and they get it in the mail. So our contact gets it in the mail, and then they have a ceremony or event to hand it to the actual family.
Do they know it's coming?
They typically know that there's something happening. They don't know really what it is. The VA hospitals or whoever we're working with, it's kind of hush-hush because they want it to be a surprise. And depending on how much that location raised and how much we have to sort of juice that a little bit, dictates the amount of the check. So some locations got $2,200–2,300 in one check, and this is, I mean, we're talking a family that can barely put food on the table, and this is right around Christmas time. So it's amazing. So I mean, our contacts get the check in hand and they look at it and they're immediately on the phone just thanking and saying, "Oh my gosh, I can't believe this!" And yeah, it's incredible.
It's a wonderful thing. So we're into 2014. Is there something new? What's some locations have changed? I know that the launch point, I think, and is the arrival still here? Beaver Dam, Wisconsin, Hogz&Honeez.
It is.
It is.
Yes, 2014. The launch point has changed. It's at Badger Harley Davidson in Madison, Wisconsin.
Will it come up through Beaver Dam and then down, or do you go from Madison? Where's the route start?
Goes right out of Madison. It starts and heads to Woodstock, Illinois.
Okay.
That is the first official leg of the tour.
Yep.
And then it goes 99 more legs until it makes it back here in Beaver Dam, Wisconsin at Hogz&Honeez.
So there are 99 legs. Is that a number you came up with, or that's just the number it happened to be?
Sort of the number that it got to, and then we tried to round it out to actually 100. Yeah.
Okay.
So, and that's it's the actual legs, because of the tour and there's so many locations that want to jump in. We've actually, the flag does travel usually once a day for 100 days, but there's so many locations that the flag is actually now jumping from place to place during the day, and it's got one central location at the end of its travel. So,
one of the things I think we really need to mention is that, you know, the cause, but it's not just those 100 days. It's year-round. This effort, the disbursement of funds, the collection of funds. I mean, we're constantly working, spreading the message, spreading the cause. I mean, the easy thing to do is you look somebody in the eye and you say, "Are you a patriot?" And I don't know anybody, you know, in today's world, you pretty well got to step back and forget all of the nonsense that our world and the chaos and everybody's points of views. I mean, it's great that everybody has all these political affiliations. It has nothing to do with politics.
No.
It has to do with helping these people who get paid little to nothing, have paid the ultimate sacrifice to allow us to have our opinions.
And if the guy says no to Brad's question, that's the one to take out.
Well, like you always said too, at the dealership, when people would be calling you, "Well, you're still going to do the ride because it's raining out." What was your...
Kidding me?
Yeah, my answer was, they asked, "Well, you're still going to hold the ride if it's raining?" And I said, you know, are you kidding me? Do our troops get to take a day off because it's too hot, too cold, it's rainy, it's snowing, whatever?
And that's how it is across the United States, the whole entire lake.
And we have ridden.
Oh yeah.
We have
ridden more than not in the rain.
Yes,
Yeah, we had
some
we had the
horrible
monsoon homecoming, didn't we?
But you know, I don't ride in the rain on purpose, but I will for this event,
right.
or whatever it is. I don't care, because you know I get to live in this world the way I do because of the people who goes back generations, grandfathers, my father, uncles, all of it. I don't think there's anybody anywhere
Who hasn't been touched?
who doesn't have a descendant or a family in who have served in the service. I mean, it's all about them.
Or that can't look one of them in the eye, square in the eye, and thank them for everything
That's
that
right.
we enjoy on a daily basis.
Right.
That's huge.
Yeah.
Yeah. And that's an underlying part of the Patriot Tour is, like Brad was saying, leave all your political affiliations at the door. Come in here and honor those that protect our freedoms and remember what is so great about this country.
Have you had any celebrities along the way that joined in by chance?
Tim.
Well, Tim. Can't compare.
And now you.
Yes,
We're hoping to change it all.
I'm thinking, well, like last year at the homecoming, you were lucky enough, Governor Walker was a part of it. He's a Harley guy, which is a wonderful thing.
Yep.
I was just wondering if somewhere along the way, I mean, you're hitting all 48 contiguous, maybe somebody popped in with a Harley, because like Jay Leno, he's a Harley guy too.
Not really know. Locals, that might be well known. Mayors, governors, things like that.
Yeah.
We've had a lot of local dignitaries.
But some cool things in kind of that same context have happened. The flag made it down in the panhandle of Pensacola, and the next thing you know, the Blue Angels are taking the flag, hold it, and taking it for a ride with the Blue Angels. I mean, wow, how cool.
Or convention.
Or on the aircraft.
Yeah, all kinds of aircraft carriers and.
Is it word of mouth? How did they find out about it? How did the Blue Angels find out that the Nation of Patriots was coming to the Panhandle?
It's all the other patriots that participate in this tour, and it continues to multiply, and the word and the message continues to spread. And it's, it's just like we're sitting here and we're using today's technology, social media, and everything else involved to spread the word. Because I can tell you, and I would challenge anybody, be at one of the stops, participate as a rider or as a spectator. You won't be a spectator long, because once you see the effect that this has, and it takes you down to ground roots of being an American and a patriot, you're in. And that word of mouth, you can have all the advertising you want in the world. That word of mouth and that passion that comes out of these people after having witnessed or been part of something like this just continues to multiply and make it bigger and bigger.
As we travel, people stand on bridges waving flags and waving. Little kids along the side of the road waving flags. It's really a moving experience to participate as well as to view it.
Yeah.
The networking involved and it grows, like Bill said, not only on the fun side, but on the network of people that you have that are supporting it, probably doubles or more so each year.
Absolutely.
We've had a couple of projects we've worked on through the winter, and so I'll make an inquiry to somebody who I know who's in the business of what we're looking for. Oh, geez, well, I'm retired, retired veteran, this, that, and the other thing. I retired from the reserves, and I know somebody that I think that can do that. Well, then he contacts somebody, and all of a sudden that guy says, well, I've got a son and a daughter that are both actively serving. I'll do that for nothing. Then we're looking at the next step of it, and we need another piece tied in, and they talk. He says, well, and that guy says, well, I know this other guy, and they talk to him, and then they donate their time, their labor, their expertise to the project, and all of that comes through. And actually, one of those suppliers that did that, he inquired where's the route, because his son and daughter, who are stationed, one in North Carolina and one in South Carolina, they're going to make sure they make the stops. So those stops are gathering momentum as well from that.
You tried to make it the whole way the first time around. Has anyone ever, let's say this year we're going to leave from Madison and try to make it and go with each group? Because there's always a group that you go to and you hand the flag off, and then there's a new group and then they go. Has anybody gone the whole?
Had a lot of takers, but nobody's actually done it. I think Tim might get close to making the most amount of stops here.
Yeah, because he's got different legs running out on the West Coast, and that'll be fun. That'll be an adventure.
I've had an opportunity to meet some really nice people. It's a good distance away from here, and actually become good friends with a couple of them, and I think we're going to have a really good time doing a good thing.
Indeed. Nation of Patriots Tour, and it's not just, it would like it to be just Harley Davidson, but it's not just Harleys, right? I mean, motorcycles, yes.
Cars, SUVs,
motorcycles.
school buses.
Cars, school buses?
Bring your roller skates if you can keep up. As long as you're a proud American and you want to honor the folks that stand up and protect what we all hold dear, come on out with your American flag and enjoy the day.
Excellent. All right. Deb Struve, Brad Weber, Bud Stout, Tim Fletcher, and the guy who started it all, Bill Shear. Congratulations, and good luck in the future with the Nation of Patriots.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.